Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Sticks and Stones. And I told you guys would make a bunch of little different practice eyeballs and lips and noses and stuff. So we're practicing them with hand tools, but we are going to cover them with the Dremel also. So those using power tools can get the idea how to do some of these simple little easy things and hopefully help improve some of your carvings. Today I'm going to work on this little type of eye right here. This right here is more of a I know he's a tired eye, a sleepy eye, you could say, or even looks like he had a little too much to drink. All right. Real easy, real simple to do. All right. I'm going to use hand tools for this one. And like I said, we'll cover a bunch of these with hand tools. And even if you're not a hand tool carver, you'll be able to do this with the Dremel also. And we will also cover them, though, with just the Dremel. And I'll show you the tools and bits you need to do the same type of thing with those things down the road, too. Okay. So right here, just grab yourself a little chunk of wood. What I did was I rounded this piece off. Right. Just take the corner off because you do want it rounded. Okay. I'm going to take my marker and show you it's really not that hard to put this type of eye, right, into one of your wood spirits or whatever carving you're actually doing. So I'm going to start here by drawing a circle. Okay. If I can get a circle here. I do have a little bit of wood right here. It's kind of split. So we'll see how that goes. And that right there is all we're going to do so we can at least keep it kind of round. All right. Now there's a couple of ways we could do this. We can go around it with a V-tool. I prefer to use a veiner or a gouge. All right. So I'm going to take this small gouge right here and we're going to outline that circle. Okay. That's all we're going to do. We're going to take some wood out just like this for now. And I only drew the circle so it stays kind of round, because if you're just kind of winging it, then you kind of lose your bearings a little bit and he'll end up more of a triangle or something. So just take some of that wood out, and you can use, like I said, a veiner for this. You could use a small gouge, and I'm just going to go around and make sure the center is going to be kind of raised. All right. Just go around, take wood all around it. If you want to do it a couple times, that's fine. All right. If you go too deep with this type of tool I'm using, it'll start just digging up the sides. So I'm not going to take too much off. I'll do just some small passes. And hopefully these little tutorials, hopefully, will help you guys out and give you different things and different ideas that you can start playing with and practicing. And you can get your power tools out also and do the same stuff, really. Now, once we get that all cut in, all right, all the way around, I'm going to take my V tool. I'm going to do a line just like this all the way around again, all right, all the way on the outside. And that'll start giving us a little bit of shadow and start setting that in a little bit, all right, like that. All right, now I'll take whatever detail knife I'm using, all right. In this case, I'm using a flex cut that I sharpened. I'm just going to clear off all that wood and start rounding that over with just some light cuts and keep everything inside those lines that we cut. Okay. Not taking too much off, just trying to get it to go into that stop cut that we put around with our V-tool. Okay. And clean it up. And we'll have a nice little mound to shape this eye. Okay. I mean, these are pretty simple, easy projects to do, but they really help you as far as improving your carving ability. I don't care if you're using a knife or not, because you can still get your Dremel out and say, oh, wow, I know how to go around that circle and do the same thing, really. once you have enough experience with a Dremel and the cutting bits that you're using, you know, I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard to figure out. But like I said, we'll cover that in depth also. Okay. So all I did was cut around it like that. All right. And then we cleaned it out. Now we have a nice little mound right there. Now, the next step is to separate this. We're going to cut it in half. You see this upper eyelid right here? Whoops, I hit that there. And if you ever do have a mark on your wood, instead of trying to erase it, if you're using a pencil, say, for instance, or a marker, like I just hit it with my marker, just shave it off a little bit with your knife. All right, so let's take the center here, and let's split this in half. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to use my V tool for this. Okay, and I'm just going to run it right across that line. And not all the way. You know, you don't have to go all the way. But pretty much all the way across. But I'm stopping a little bit short. All right. Because, and this right here is going to be, of course, his upper eyelid right here on top. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to do a lower eyelid. So we're going to connect it about here. That's why we didn't really go too far across. Okay. And we're going to come down. You can make this as big as you want. Come over here, do the same thing. Try and get it to look kind of decent. All right. And we're going to do the same thing and cut that in with our V tool. All right. Now you can turn it over for this. It'll probably be easier to cut. And run your V tool across that line. Just like that. All right. So now we have our eye inside, and we have an upper and a lower eyelid. Okay. And if we want a little more shadow going around it, he's not standing out enough, just run your V tool around that outside edge again. And clean that out and deepen him a little more if you want. Okay. All right. So now we have that on the inside. I mean, it's not too hard to form this type of eye, like I said. Now, I am going to come over to the corner here, and I'm going to make a small V cut. And I'm going to take that chip out. Kind of rounding it off a little bit if I do that on both sides. Okay, so I make a V cut. One cut there, one cut there. All right? In the corner. And in the corner. All right? And then we just take a triangle chip out. And that'll start rounding that over. All right. Then we're going to push up. Just like that. Shave up and underneath the eyelid. Come down here and shave down. And try to get that eye mound to stay inside. Okay. Of those eyelids. So just go slow. I'm trying to go slow for the camera and show you it doesn't really, it's not as hard of a process as we make it sometimes. Sometimes on this you can see it really good because I'm doing it big. But it's harder to see on a wood spirit, maybe when the eyes are a lot smaller and you're holding the whole piece in your hand. But that's all we're doing there. Okay. So now we have an upper eyelid, lower eyelid, and we're forming the eye mound in the middle. All right. And if it's sticking out a little too much, just keep shaving it down till you get that on the inside. Okay, just a little at a time. And that's the idea for forming your eye mound. All right. And once it's fairly smooth and it looks okay to you, pretty much all we got to do is put a pupil in. And we could add bags or whatever else. But this is a simple, easy way to do a quick eye without getting too fancy. All right. Now, if you want him to look tired, or you want him to look sleepy or drunk, all right, or anything like that, the big thing here is you really don't want to put like a small pupil right here. What we want is a larger one. All right. More on the idea of something like this. All right. So the bigger we could put that pupil in, the more tired he's going to look. All right. And then you'll end up with that sleepy eye effect or whatever we're coming up with. Now, this right here, this gouge may be a little bit small for what I'm doing. Let me see if I have another size gouge that will work for this with the same type of sweep. This is big enough, but it's not exactly deep enough of a sweep for this. Let's try this guy. This may work a little bit better. Now, I may have to do this with my knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up. For now, I'll use this. I drew it a little bit too big. I'm just going to push that in. All right, just like that. And I'll try to add a couple of those cuts to make it bigger. And then I'll just try and do the rest with my detail knife. But we take that out, run your stop cut across, and pop that out. Just like so. I'll try to make that as big as I can. And see if I can get that out. All right. Now I might have to take a couple of cuts to get that right, because I really should have one size a little bit bigger, but you get the idea. Whatever way you have to get that out, that's what you do. All right. And now you have that sleepy type of eye. All right. Now it's a little bit big here. Maybe I went too big. Over here in the corner, if I want a little more shadow, like I said, I would take that corner out a little bit more. And that right there would solve that problem of not having enough shadow. All right. And you could do the same on the other side. And again, these are all just little tips and little different ways to make different eyeballs, different types of expressions to add to your carvings. You can go around with your V tool again and make it smaller if you don't like the effect. All right, get it to stand out a little bit more. You can cut your eyelids in more. You could shave them down just by going around again and repeating the same process over the same lines you already have cut. All right, like I want this lower eyelid to stand out a little bit more. All right, now in the corner here, I could even extend that over if I wanted to, like so, with two cuts like that. And then it's kind of covering the lower, and then kind of just take that lower eyelid and shave it up and make sure it goes underneath that upper one a little bit more even. All right, and if it's not, I could take a smaller V tool or a veiner. Let me see what kind of V tool I got here. And I could also make the cut that way to get a little bit more shadow in the corner. Okay, and I want to round this over and make sure that eyelid on the top like this, no, the eyeball on the top, I mean, is going up and underneath that eyelid. And you use whatever tools you have to clean this out. All right, if you don't have enough shadow, you could take a smaller gouge like this, dig it out a little bit more, use your knife, whatever you have to do to get it clean and hollow it out, or a Dremel bit, like I said, if you're using power, and just try to hollow that out and get that, anything you got to do to get that shadow. And now we have a nice, quick, little, easy eye. You got the upper eyelid, lower eyelid, all right? And we clean up the rest of that marker line. He won't look as big as he does right here. Blow all our little cuts out here. All right, and you have an eye. And that's the way I would do a sleepy eye. You can make this part right here smaller. Like I said, you can make it bigger. You can play with it, and you'll have a sleepy or drunk type eye that you could put on your wood spirits. And it's just one other type of way you can do an eye quick and easy by making a circle, splitting it, put the eyeball inside with a V-tool, and you're good. And what I do is go around with my V-tool and clean it up and shorten whatever I want to shorten if it's too big and there's not enough shadow. Okay, and I round off this so it's not so big. Just going around with my V-tool here. So I can make this part smaller if I want, or whatever. Whatever I got to do to get more shadow and the effect I'm looking for, or to make it a little more even or rounded, all right? Sometimes I don't like it that big. And you play with it until you get the shadow you want and the effect you want. And like I said, smooth everything over with your knife or whatever bit you're using for your Dremel. And you got yourself a nice little sleepy eye. Okay, so there's different types you can do. You can play with different tools, use veiners, use different size V-tools, and come up with a couple different ways to do this type of eye. All right? Okay. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. And I will clean this guy up and put him in my little box. And I'll see you guys in the next one. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye now.